There's a good buck coming up through here. I knew that that was the buck that I came here for. He was huge. He's a good one. But we have to get a lot closer to him to get a shot. He's 500-600 yards out right now.
With only 3 days to get the job done, Steve Stoltz is in for a big challenge in Big Sky Country.
That might be the shooter. That's an 8-point. He's 154 yards, Jay. 154, I can make that shot. I'm gonna take him. Meh. Meh. You know, here it is late October, and I'm rifle hunting for monster class whitetails here in Montana, and I'm really looking forward to it.
The cards are stacked for Steve Stoltz. It's not often that a hunter has the opportunity to carry a rifle during a magical whitetail rut. But Guy J. Pribble of Northern Rockies Outfitters is setting Stoltz up on a hunt of a lifetime in Cascade, Montana.
Well, I was really looking forward to hunting with Northern Rockies Outfitters. It has been a dream of mine to hunt big, huge whitetails in late October, early November, because there's not many places in the United States that allow rifle hunting that early for big whitetails.
Every hunt has that magic time when the rut is just on, and there's really not that much time in the fall. So when you hit that spot, whatever location you're in, you better get ready because it is going to be a lot of action.
There's nothing biologically wrong with hunting with a rifle during the rut as long as you don't over-harvest. So all the Fish and Game agencies have to do is limit the number of hunters out there based on your average success rates. So if Steve's out there hunting Montana in the rut, he's landed in Eden, man. This is like paradise. Take advantage of it.
What a buck this is, huh?
Yes, that one was actually shot north of Great Falls.
Really?
Yeah.
So not far from here?
Not far from here.
Our season gives you a chance to brag to your friends that are states away, say, hey, look at this buck I shot, and they're not going out to the field till way later.
There's very few places across the country where you actually get a 300-yard weapon in your hands during the rut, and Montana's one of those places.
The land is pretty open. You go to Montana, you be ready to cover some distance and spend a lot of time glassing and test out that rifle for a long distance shot.
Get loaded up. How far is the range?
6 miles.
6 miles? You know, here it was, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and I hadn't shot my gun yet. And we were to hunt the next morning, or at least we wanted to try and hunt the next morning. I was in a small window of time that I could even hunt out here. You never know what that gun's gonna be like when you get to where you're going, and we're gonna do the responsible thing and get the gun shot right now.
We have a lot of wind around here, and a heavier bullet is going to do a lot better for you out here.
Let's get a Winchester shell in here using the new Winchester XP3s. They're awesome, and let's see how she shoots.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we got here.
Okay. That was 7 inches high, 6 to the left.
All right, well, we're gonna have to readjust.
Right.
And you have to check your gun for zero, especially when you go on any kind of flight or any kind of traveling. You gotta check your gun when you get to your location. I mean, it's a must. Are you ready?
Ready.
Fire in the hole.
Okay, that one's right on the money. 1.25 inches high and almost dead center.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
She is on now. Perfect. Time to go hunting. Looks like there's one down there coming this way. Big dark-bodied deer.
Yeah, it is.
Well, here we are. It's not even light enough to film, and we've got deer moving up this draw. Good-looking deer, probably 141, pushing 150. When it started getting light, we were covered up with whitetails. I soon realized that we made a wise choice coming out and hunting with Northern Rockies Outfitters. There's deer coming to the left. Does and fawns. doe and little ones. Yep. With these does filtering up through here, they'll drag a good buck out in the open. At least where we can develop a game plan, try and get closer. But right now we're still sitting here waiting to see a shooter. And if we see a shooter, we'll make our move or sit tight and let him work his way towards us, just whichever works. We're gonna do whatever it takes. First day, stick with us. This is awesome. Beautiful up here, beautiful.
We saw this big shooter 8-point.
There's a good buck coming up through here. I knew that that was the buck that I came here for. He was huge. He's a good one. We have to get a lot closer to him to get a shot. He's 500-600 yards out right now.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
Where these deer are traveling, good little distance, so there's a good chance, unless we just get lucky and one works its way close, there's a good chance we're going to have to make a move on one, which is fine with me. Well, one of the things that kind of makes me nervous about this hunt is I've only got 3.5 days to get this job done, and one thing that I thought was a key tactic to trying to take a good buck on this hunt is just listen to Jay.
You show up in the middle of the night and you don't know what the lay of the land is. You don't know how you got in there on that windy road, and you wake up in the morning and you realize east is over here and you thought it was over here. That's pretty confusing. So now you're supposed to find a deer to boot.
Your guide is they're your eyes and your ears for that area. They live there, they grew up there in most cases.
As a hunter, if you have not had the opportunity to hunt a location, I really like to either go with someone who has hunted that area before or at least talk with them before.
But choose your outfitters wisely. Talk to people that's been unsuccessful. Did they get a fair shake? Would they go back again? All those things play into it.
Photos don't lie about the kind of big game Northern Rockies Outfitters is taking. The outfit operates in a number of Montana locations for numerous species. And if you are going after whitetails, who better to go with than a guy that's lived the land since boyhood?
My family, my parents moved out here and bought the ranch when I was in kindergarten, and it's been in the family. I'm the 4th generation here. The huge part of my life is hunting, and especially guiding. Started guiding friends of my dad's when I was probably 14 years old, and I fell in love with getting to see the excitement on other people's faces. It's the part of being outside and being close to wildlife that is one of the greatest joys of my life.
This is certainly a pretty spot, no question. A couple of those. There's still a doe. There's still a doe in that cove, so.
There's a bunch of little bucks there too.
I know when we were sitting there and we were using kind of the passive tactic, and that is setting from a high vantage point and letting the deer work through and see if we could spot a shooter, I knew that my chances would be really good there.
We saw some deer coming up and saw deer that weren't shooters, and then all of a sudden we saw this big shooter 8-point.
There's a good buck coming up through here. Looked like he's working his way up this draw, and he looked like he could be a shooter. When we saw that big 8-pointer 450 yards away, I knew that that was the buck that I came here for. He was huge.
Top quality optics are key to big whitetail on this Tecomate Trophy tip.
I'm David Morris. You know, I love hunting anywhere, but I really love hunting the wide open spaces of the West. I like big open country. I just enjoy hunting that. And if you're going to do that, you need good optics, and I mean seriously good optics. You spend hours sometimes glassing the countryside. I don't like to walk forever to get to an animal to see what he is. Now this will help you determine whether or not he's a shooter or not, and whether or not you need to put the steps in to get to him. Don't skimp on your optics. They add tremendously to the enjoyment of the hunt, and they're critical in judging that animal. So buy the best glasses you can, whether it's a spotting scope or binocular, because I guarantee you, it'll help you take home bigger bucks. I'm David Morris. See you next time on Tecomate Trophy Tips.
To continue this and other conversations with David, go to tecomate.com.
Yeah, he's a shooter. Oh, definitely. He's a good one. Good 8-point. And we have to get a lot closer to him to get a shot. So we're trying to decide exactly what move to make. So what do you want to do, Jay? I mean, you know these deer better than I do.
I think that's a big frame buck that we saw when it was almost totally dark. Since he's on the outskirt of the bedding area, we just don't want to go in there and bust him out of there, because if we bust him out of there, then it just makes them harder to hunt. So
we're better off to just let them bed up with these does, and then develop a game plan where we're going to catch him coming out of this draw in the evening, because he'll come right back through there, right?
Right. I think tonight we have a good chance at him, unless we're going to sit here and watch, and if he messes up, then we're going to try to capitalize on that this morning. So see what's going to happen.
They're just over the hill here.
I see these horns coming out of the brush, and immediately I thought it was the big shooter 8-point.
They're still there. That's a good buck. I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a shot at this good buck. Couple of those. But that's the direction that buck was headed, right up through there. Okay. I have not seen him since, but he had some good antlers on him.
Steve Stoltz and Guy J. Pribble are on a stakeout for a big Montana 8-point that's disappeared into the brush. And Stoltz's anticipation is primed by past Montana experiences.
Well, my first Montana whitetail hunt was years ago with the Drurys, but it was more of an early season whitetail bow hunt. That hunt started in early September, right when Montana's archery season opened. And it was a great hunt. I had success. I killed a really good buck with my bow, but I knew I could do better, and that's why I wanted to come on a rifle hunt here in Montana.
One of the advantages Steve brings to whitetail hunting with a rifle is his vast experience hunting them with a bow. Anyone who's bow hunted, you're observing deer a lot more than pure rifle hunter.
Well, in my seminar, I said, I hold up a bow and a gun. I said, what's the difference between these two weapons, one's a 40-yard weapon, one's a 400-yard weapon. I mean, that changes the rules right there.
Steve's background is bow hunting, turkey hunting. Both of those games, you got to get close to the animal. You got to get in tight, play their game. So you put a rifle in Steve's hands, he's deadly.
He could come back out in that open. Oh yeah. Bumping around on does. Like you said, he gets bumping around on doe. Doe may run out here and closer to us, and him follow right behind. There's a buck just stepped out. That might be the shooter. That's the shooter, I think. What do you think, Jay?
I don't think that's a shooter.
No, that's not him.
Yeah, he's in that brush still.
He's clearly not a shooter, but I got excited when I first threw my glasses up. I thought that was a big boy. Hey, he's a decent buck. 227 yards. If that was a shooter, we could take the shot from here if we wanted to. We were just covered up with whitetails all day. We could hardly leave. In fact, we had to hunt our way out. Some people are looking for a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I'm looking for a monster whitetail at the end of that rainbow.
Well, I think he might be right in line with the end of that rainbow there.
Well, let's go see if he's not under there. And if not, we'll just go eat some lunch, rest up, and get ready for the evening.
Sounds good. And on the way out to the truck, I knew this one area that had this one deer that I specifically really wanted. He was a big 5x5, and he had 2 drop tines.
What's over here in this clump? See antlers? Yeah, there's a group of deer. That's a good-looking buck. Yeah. He's borderline. Let's move up a little closer. That drop tine, he may be bedded up here with these ones. Okay. They're just over the hill here, so. We've got that buck that we can't decide whether we want to shoot or not. We got to take a better look at him, and we got to stay out of their line of sight, get to this rock pile. If we don't see the drop tine buck, we'll size this other buck up a little bit more. That's a good buck. We got to get up here and see whether we want to shoot him or not. Broken off G2. We're going to pass him. Here I am. I'm on a short hunt. Got my sight set on shooting a buck the first day, and wouldn't you know, a broken G2.
Sure, you can get that first look and say, that one's a shooter, but sometimes you need to look closer, and that's when optics are super important.
He's off the hit list, but he sure looked nice before we got up here.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that G2 was broken.
No. We had a great... It would have been a done deal. It was a great stock.
but the buck just isn't what we were
I'd
looking
say
at.
we got within 125 yards of him. A little bit of letdown there, but maybe we'll see a bigger one. There's a drop time buck in here, but man, right now my sights are set on that big 8-point. I'd be happy to take him home, I'll promise you.
That's the 8-point.
Well, what are the odds that that same big shooter whitetail that we saw the day before would be on the other part of the ranch? I can make that shot. I'm gonna take him. Meh. Meh.
Winchester Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, and by Redfield, the soul of the American hunter.
Do you see him? I don't think that's him. Yeah, that's not him. No, it's not him. We're kind of making a move on a good buck, but we're not sure if it's the big 8 we saw this morning.
The end of the day for Steve Stoltz and Guy J. Pribble brings them a step closer to finding the big 8. And Pribble realizes that he's familiar with this buck, thanks to his daughter's hunting instincts.
The first morning of the hunt, as we were walking back to the truck, I realized that I had a little bit of history with this whitetail.
Jay said, you know what? I think my daughter Michaela found the shed to that buck. Of course, he dug into his shed pile and found this shed, and we matched it up with the film. Exactly the same buck from the year before. We know he's fully mature, so he's definitely at the top of our hit list for this hunt. What a beautiful shed. Thanks, Michaela, for being such a good shed hunter. Wait. Way down there on that fence line. All I'm seeing is does. Which way are they gonna head, Jay?
They're gonna go on the other side of the hill.
This side
Yep,
here?
yep. Let's get over there.
Where there's does, there's big bucks, that's for sure. You know, this time of year, it's November 1st. The rut's starting to kick in out here in Montana, and I told Jay, I said, you know, you mind if I rattle and grunt a little bit? You know, it's November 1st, Jay, and I'm thinking it's a little more still this morning than yesterday. The winds were blowing 40 mile an hour. It might be a good time to get out the rattling horns and...
Right, let's give it a try because they can probably hear it today.
That's a good deer.
That's definitely, no doubt about it.
Let me range him. He's 154 yards, Jay. 154, I can make that shot. I'm gonna take him. There's my shot right there.
Although on camera it looks like this buck is behind a bush, the deer is clear for a shot from Stoltz's angle.
Looks like he's getting ready to go. I'm gonna take him.
Shot.
Yes.
He's gonna go down.
It's going right. It's going right. Should I shoot him again? Should I shoot him again? Is he going down? Is he going down?
You better shoot him one more time.
Okay. He's going right. Yes, he's down.
He's down. All right.
That's a good
That is
buck.
awesome.
Awesome job. Well, I hit him with the first round, and I mean it hammered him. But he took off, and it almost looked like he wasn't even hit to me. So I put another shell in, and he kind of staggered around a little bit, and Jay said, go ahead and put another round in him.
I traditionally, having grown up a meat hunter, you don't want to ruin the meat, so you want to make a nice clean shot behind the shoulders, through the ribs, minimize the meat loss. And I know from long experience that if I've seen a good hit in the heart-lung area, that buck is going to fall over dead pretty quickly. But there's also the chance that you didn't see that shot quite as well as you thought you did.
If a buck's still on his feet, put him down. And you watched that hunt last year with me, and you could take your finger and put your, just like that, both holes right together. I mean, they were right beside each other. He's down. Yes, sir. Don't be afraid to put two shots in an animal to put him down.
We stalked up to this high spot. Jay said these big bucks have been moving through here. This buck came out of nowhere. Beautiful, big 8-point Montana whitetail. Northern Rockies Outfitters does it for us on the second day of the hunt, November 1st, and I'm pumped. And he's down right over there.
All right.
Well, what are the odds that that same big shooter whitetail that we saw the day before would be on the other part of the ranch, and I would bang those horns together and he would come to that call? I mean, to me it was a miracle, but we got the job done thanks to Jay Pribble of the Northern Rockies Outfitters. Just a phenomenal hunt out here. It's what you dream about when you go on a whitetail hunt in Montana. Couldn't ask for a better ending. Man, that's a pretty sight. Look at that.
Yes, it is.
Awesome, awesome buck. Look at that buck. Beautiful. Big 8-point.
From the first time I met Steve, I knew that we were going to have a great hunt. I enjoyed hunting with him.
He's a big old mature 8-point, and I'm proud to take him home.
Yeah, he's a nice deer.
You bet.
Congratulations.
Awesome. You can come out here and do an early season whitetail hunt with either bow or rifle and have a heck of a time. And as you can see, take a giant whitetail. Awesome. It's been a great hunt. Thanks for having us.